All right, let's dive in. Have you ever stopped to think about how the internet actually happened? We're going to trace its incredible story, from a tiny experiment that crashed after just 2 letters, all the way to the invisible network that runs our entire world. It's a fantastic story of solving one massive problem after another.
Okay, so picture this. It's October 1969. A student at UCLA is trying to send the first ever message over a computer network to a machine at Stanford. He types L, he types O, and the whole system crashes. That was it. The very first message was LO. You can't make this stuff up, right? An accidental hello to a global revolution.
And that crash, that fragility, it gets right to the heart of the very first problem engineers were trying to solve. Remember, this was the height of the Cold War. The big question was, how do you build a communications network that could actually survive an attack?
See, the old way of doing things was called circuit switching. It works just like a classic phone call. You have one single, dedicated line between you and the other person. If that line gets cut, well, the conversation's over. But then came this absolutely brilliant idea, packet switching. Instead of sending one big message down one fragile pipe, you chop it up into tiny little pieces, or packets. Each packet finds its own way through this resilient mesh of connections, and they all get put back together on the other side. If one path is blocked or destroyed, no big deal. The packets just find another way around.
So this idea wasn't just a theory. It was put into practice with something called ARPANET. Funded by the US military, it linked up 4 universities and proved for the first time that this whole packet switching thing actually worked. But here's the thing. In solving that first problem of vulnerability, they accidentally created a brand new one.
As ARPANET started to take off, other networks began popping up all over the world. The problem was, all these amazing new networks were like different islands, all speaking completely different languages, with no way to communicate.
You had the NPL network over in the UK, you had AlohaNet in Hawaii using radio waves, and of course ARPANET in the States. They were all doing incredible things, but none of them could talk to each other. It was kind of a digital Tower of Babel.
So what they needed, desperately, was a universal translator. And that is exactly what Vint Cerf and Bob Kahn created with something called TCP/IP. The best way to think about it is as a common language, a set of rules that any network could agree to use. It didn't care how your network was built on the inside. As long as it could speak TCP/IP on the outside, it could connect to everyone else.
And you can see how this all came together right here. After years of designing and testing, it all led to January 1st, 1983. It's known as Flag Day. That was the day ARPANET officially flipped the switch to TCP/IP. And in that moment, all those separate, isolated networks merged into one interconnected network of networks. That was the day the internet was truly born.
Okay, so now we have one big, unified internet. Problem solved, right? Well, not quite. There was still a massive barrier. The internet was a clunky, text-only world. You had to be a computer scientist just to use it. The next big problem was, how do you make this thing usable for everyone?
And the answer to that problem was, of course, the World Wide Web, invented by Tim Berners-Lee. But the thing that really opened the floodgates was the graphical web browser. With Mosaic and then the much slicker Netscape navigator, the internet went from lines of code to something you could actually see and click on. Suddenly, you didn't need to be an expert. Anyone could use it. And that, as you can imagine, led to an absolute explosion in popularity. And with that popularity came a fight for control. Netscape was the undisputed king of the hill at first, but a little company called Microsoft decided it wanted a piece of the action, kicking off the first great browser war.
And the way Microsoft won this war is absolutely fascinating. They used a strategy that we now call platform envelopment. By bundling their browser Internet Explorer for free with every single copy of their dominant Windows operating system, they just completely steamrolled Netscape. It was a masterclass, and a really controversial one in how you can use your power in one area to take over another.
All right, so that battle sets the stage for the next massive evolution. Because now you have millions and millions of people flooding online. And that creates a brand new challenge, the problem of scale. How could anyone possibly build enough stuff, services, content, you name it, for this massive new digital world?
The solution wasn't for one company to build everything. No way. The solution was to build platforms that could harness this incredibly powerful force called the network effect. It's a really simple idea. Think about it. The very first telephone was totally useless, right? But as soon as your friends got one, it suddenly became valuable. That's the network effect in a nutshell.
And don't just take my word for it. Look at this number.
70%. That's roughly how much of the value in modern tech is driven by this one single idea. It is the engine, the secret sauce that powers Silicon Valley.
And companies got incredibly good at engineering this. Let's take your phone's operating system, right? First, a bunch of us start using it. Then, developers see all those users and think, hey, I should build an app for them. All those amazing new apps make the phone even better, which pulls in even more users, and you see where this is going. It's a feedback loop that just keeps getting stronger and stronger.
So this platform revolution totally solved the problem of scale. But, and you're probably sensing the theme here, in solving that problem, it has created a whole new set of really thorny challenges that we're all dealing with right now.
I mean, we now live in a world of these massive walled gardens, where big tech companies lock us into their ecosystems. We're grappling with huge questions about data privacy. Just think about Cambridge Analytica. Then there's the almost impossible task of content moderation. Who gets to decide what's okay on a global scale? And of course, the very network effects that created all this value have also led to just a few giants dominating the entire landscape.
So think about where we started. A simple message, low, before a system crash. And now we have a planet completely wrapped in digital connections. The entire story of the internet, when you boil it down, is a story of solving one giant problem after another. First vulnerability, then isolation, then usability, and then scale. And that whole journey leaves us with maybe the biggest question of all. Now that we've built this incredible, world-changing thing, who gets to write the rules?